There comes a moment in every life when the weight feels unbearable, when the pressure presses against your chest so tightly that even breathing feels like work, when the dreams that once energized you now seem distant and blurred by exhaustion, disappointment, and doubt. And it is in that exact moment, when things get too hard, that your true story begins. Because easy does not build strength. Comfort does not create character. And convenience has never produced greatness. When things get too hard, your mind will try to negotiate with you. It will whisper that you have done enough, that maybe this goal is too big, that perhaps you are unrealistic, that maybe you should settle for something safer, smaller, simpler. It will remind you of your failures, replay your embarrassments, magnify your insecurities, and question your worth. But difficulty is not a dead end. Difficulty is a doorway. When things get too hard, most people stop. They slow down. They retreat. They rationalize. They convince themselves that quitting is maturity, that giving up is wisdom, that lowering standards is self-care. And sometimes stepping back is necessary. But quitting on your potential because it hurts is not self-care. It is self-sabotage dressed up as protection. You are not built for a life without resistance. Muscles grow by resistance. Character grows by resistance. Vision grows by resistance. When things get too hard, that is life asking you a question. How bad do you want it? Not when it's convenient. Not when you feel inspired. Not when people are cheering for you. But when you are tired. When you are doubting. When no one sees your effort. When the results are slow. When the progress is invisible. When the sacrifices feel unfair. That is the test. And the truth is, when things get too hard, you have only two options: shrink or expand. You can allow the pressure to crush you, or you can allow the pressure to create you. Because pressure does one of two things. It breaks what is weak, and it strengthens what is resilient. And resilience is not something you're born with. It is something you build. You build it every time you choose discipline over comfort. You build it every time you wake up when you don't feel like it. You build it every time you keep your word to yourself. You build it every time you take one more step when your legs are shaking. When things get too hard, remember this: growth is uncomfortable by design. If it were comfortable, everyone would evolve. If it were easy, everyone would succeed. If it were painless, everyone would persist. But they don't. That's why your willingness to endure what others avoid becomes your competitive advantage. When things get too hard, you will feel alone. You will look around and think everyone else has it figured out. You will scroll through curated images of success and believe you are the only one struggling. But what you don't see are the silent battles, the private tears, the sleepless nights, the moments of doubt that every achiever has faced. No victory comes without a season of questioning. No breakthrough comes without a season of pressure. No transformation comes without a season of discomfort. When things get too hard, do not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask instead, "What is this preparing me for?" Because pain is preparation. Setbacks are schooling. Delays are development. And sometimes the very thing that feels like it is breaking you is actually shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than you ever imagined. You may be in a season right now where nothing makes sense. Doors are closed. Relationships have shifted. Plans have fallen apart. You worked hard and still failed. You tried again and still stumbled. You gave your best and still were not chosen. And it hurts. But when things get too hard, you must remember that rejection is not always a verdict on your value. Sometimes it is redirection toward your purpose. Sometimes life removes what is comfortable to make room for what is necessary. Sometimes it shakes you so that what is unstable falls away. Sometimes it pushes you so that you discover how far you can actually go. When things get too hard, discipline becomes more important than motivation. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls. It depends on mood. It depends on inspiration. But discipline is a decision. It is a commitment. It is showing up regardless of how you feel. And when things get too hard, you cannot rely on feelings. You must rely on principles. You must rely on habits. You must rely on the promises you made to yourself when you were clear-minded and courageous. Because hard seasons will cloud your vision. They will distort your perspective. They will tempt you to abandon what once mattered most. But if you anchor yourself to purpose instead of emotion, you will endure. When things get too hard, shrink the timeline. Stop thinking about the next year. Stop thinking about the next 5 years. Think about the next hour, the next task, the next right action. You do not conquer mountains in a single leap. You conquer mountains step by step. And sometimes survival is success. Sometimes not quitting is the win. Sometimes getting out of bed is the victory. Sometimes choosing hope over despair is the breakthrough. When things get too hard, you must guard your mind, because your mind will either be your greatest weapon or your greatest enemy. What you repeat internally will determine how you respond externally. If you tell yourself you are defeated, you will act defeated. If you tell yourself you are capable, you will search for solutions. The story you tell yourself matters. Tell yourself that this is temporary. Tell yourself that you are learning. Tell yourself that strength is forming. Tell yourself that you have endured before and you will endure again. When things get too hard, understand that this is where identity is forged. Anyone can feel confident when things are working. Anyone can smile when the path is smooth. Anyone can believe when evidence is visible. But can you believe when the results are delayed? Can you persist when the applause is absent? Can you stay committed when progress is slow? That is identity work. That is character construction. That is the moment you decide who you're going to be, not when it is easy, but when it is hard. When things get too hard, your circle matters. Protect your environment. Distance yourself from voices that feed fear, amplify doubt, or normalize mediocrity. Surround yourself with reminders of possibility, with people who challenge you, with words that strengthen you, with examples that inspire you. Because in hard seasons, your mind is suggestible. Feed it strength, feed it truth, feed it vision. When things get too hard, you may cry. Cry. You may feel overwhelmed. Feel it. You may need rest. Rest, but do not surrender. Resting is not quitting. Feeling is not failing. Pausing is not losing. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not the absence of struggle. It is a refusal to stay down. And when things get too hard, you must decide, is this the chapter where my story ends, or is this the chapter where my strength begins? Every great story has a turning point. Every powerful comeback has a breaking moment. Every strong person has a past version of themselves who almost gave up. Let this be your turning point. Let this be the moment you say, it's hard, but I'm harder. Let this be the season where you build endurance instead of excuses. Let this be the stretch that expands your capacity. Because one day you'll look back at this period, the sleepless nights, the uncertain days, the heavy thoughts, and you will realize it was not destroying you. It was developing you. You will realize that the pressure built resilience. The struggle built skill. The rejection built confidence. The loneliness built independence. The hardship built depth. When things get too hard, remember that storms do not last forever. They feel endless while you are inside them, but they move, they shift, they pass. And when they pass, the person who endured them stands differently, stronger, clearer, wiser, braver. So if things are too hard right now, do not interpret that as a sign to stop. Interpret as a sign that you are in the middle of becoming. Do not measure your life only by comfort. Measure by courage. Measure it by growth. Measure it by how many times you stood back up when it would have been easier to lie down. When things get too hard, that is not your cue to quit. That is your cue to rise, to breathe deeper, to stand taller, to think stronger, to move anyway, to fight for the future you once prayed for, to refuse to let temporary pain dictate permanent decisions. Because this moment, this heavy, stretching, uncomfortable moment, may very well be the foundation of everything you are about to become. And when you make it through, you will not just have success. You will have strength. You will have resilience. You will have proof that you can survive what once felt impossible. So when things get too hard, do not run. Lean in, grow through it, and keep going. Because the only way you truly lose is if you decide that hard means stop. And hard does not mean stop. Hard means you are close. Hard means you are stretching. Hard means you are transforming. Hard means you are alive in the arena of growth. So stay in it, stay in the fight, stay committed, and watch what happens when the version of you that refuses to quit finally meets the breakthrough that was waiting on your endurance all along.